Mandel joins me. Good morning, Bethany. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Good. I began the show with this story from the Jerusalem Post. Chicago Jewish man on the way to synagogue shot by attackers shouting Allah Akbar. Have you seen that in any major American news outlet?
I've barely seen it in the Jewish news. I think you're probably the only national media personality talking about this today.
What do you think of that story? What does it portend for American Jews?
I mean, it's a lot of the same fears that we've had. This kind of stuff has been happening on the streets of Brooklyn for years. One of my friends was approached in the streets of Brooklyn over this last holiday last week, and he was yelling that these he was gonna these things that I can't say actually on air, but this kind of stuff has been happening for a long time in America, unfortunately, in New York, and now it's spreading.
Now, what I worry about, Bethany, where I lived in Southern California from 89 to 2015, you see a lot of Orthodox Jews walking to synagogue on Saturday morning. It's just part of the landscape because a lot of Orthodox Jews have moved there, many from South Africa, as a matter of fact. Are they going to have to change? I don't know how else you get to synagogue, right? You got to walk.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the hard thing also is that if you're Orthodox, you don't have a phone on you. So you can't call 911, you can't take a picture of someone, and that really limits your ability to defend yourself. Now, you can't carry a cell phone, but there are a lot of people who are carrying guns these days. There was a conversation recently in one of my neighborhood WhatsApp groups, and someone said, "Oh, I don't feel comfortable with guns. Where can which synagogue can I go to where there won't be any guns?" And people just did the laugh emoji on it because there's a dozen guns in every single synagogue in my town in
You know, I
Maryland.
used to do events with Michael Medved, and if it was Sabbath, I would go with him and press the elevator. I was his Gentile helper. Do you think we're going to see more of that among the Orthodox community, Gentiles who will come along with a phone?
A Shabbos goy. I mean, we have security. We have folks in the neighborhood who know the limitations, but I I I, I don't know. I mean, it might get to that point where there are neighborhood watches set up. We have that within the Orthodox community already, but the folks I mean, off if it's a matter of life and death, there are people who have cell phones. So there are always some folks in the community who have their phones, doctors, mostly just doctors. But they might be employed to sort of say like, let's have you also stand watch and kill two birds with one
Yeah, I
stone.
think that's it. That's it. Shabbos Goy. That's what he called me. Although
Yeah.
I've got a friend who's Orthodox on the West Coast who hates the term Goy, so I don't use it. Bethany, I want to play for you a little bit of Lawrence O'Donnell on Thursday night attacking me. Cut number 13.
Donald Trump's radio minister of propaganda, Hugh Hewitt, got Donald Trump on the phone today. And I know for a fact that Hugh Hewitt knows what a tariff is and who pays a tariff and how it works, which is why Hugh Hewitt did not discuss tariffs with Donald Trump today. Donald Trump's minister of radio propaganda began his interview by saying this.
I've already voted for you and J.D. Vance.
That was before question one. And then Hugh Hewitt, who, unlike Donald Trump, knows how bad Hitler was, tried to help Donald Trump with Donald Trump's Hitler stuff.
Biographers are going to be writing about you for decades and centuries. And one of the questions they're going to come up against is why do some people hate you so much? I mean, Trump derangement syndrome is a real thing. I've run into it. We saw it online repeatedly. The stuff they call you, the Hitler stuff, the fascist stuff.
The permanently and irrevocably disgraced Hugh Hewitt calls it the Hitler stuff, the fascist stuff. And yes, biographers and historians for centuries will easily find Donald Trump's White House Chief of Staff, John Kelly, on audio tape quoting Donald Trump saying Hitler did some good things. No historian is going to struggle with why Americans who hate Hitler might also hate a person who admires Hitler.
It's worth, Bethany. What's wrong with these people?
It is so enraging to watch that and to hear that because these people don't care about Jews. These people don't care about Hitler. All they care about is using Hitler and using the Holocaust to score political points. It is so craven and so disgusting. I, that is enraging. I wish that I had had some time to digest that before I had to go back to talking about it. It is so infuriating to hear people play those games when literal lives are on the line.
Well, I don't know if Lawrence O'Donnell was at the rally for Israel. He might have been. I don't think so. But I
You
don't
were.
think he's actually out there defending Israelis and Jews and marching with them like many of the conservatives who support Trump is. And I think Trump's better for
Like you
Israel
were.
by far than Kamala Harris. Do you have any doubt in your mind on that question?
No, I mean, there is no doubt in any of your listeners' minds about your commitment to the Jewish people and the Jewish state. And for him to play those games while having absolutely not a care in the world is just revolting.